What is the worst animated comic book movie of all time?
Oh, for me, the worst is I think is Planet Hulk. Okay, because Planet Hulk, the comic book, was a freaking masterpiece. I love that comic book so much, and when they changed it around and had to shorten it because the comic book's a big one, kind of, because it's an anime film, so you only have like roughly 90 minutes to tell like an entire story. It just, you just don't do that with that type of book and stuff. You're either going to give it two parts like The Dark Knight Returns because it's that good of a book, or you're just going to, not attempt it at all. So when they had to shorten things and shorten it and basically kind of trim out some things, even change around some of the characters, it just, you don't mess with that book and stuff.
All righty. Dalton, worst animated comic book movie of all time.
I said Invincible Iron Man, which is a direct-to-DVD movie from the early 2000s. I will start by saying, where do you even begin with that movie? The pacing is terrible. The effects and the animation is terrible. And the like emotional gravitas of Tony's journey, which I will admit I don't find compelling even in the best of times, is just evaporated from existence. And even worse than that, you can't even enjoy the action scenes in Invincible Iron Man because they used this between like Nintendo 64 and PS1 style computer animation for it, and it looks worse than like Final Fantasy cutscenes. If you can't enjoy the action in a superhero movie, and you can't enjoy the journey, and you can't enjoy the characters, what do you even have? And more so even than that, even with all that technical stuff wrong, you can't even make a so bad it's good argument.
Alrighty.
I would buy you to give a shit.
Okay. You got to trim down the opening statements there, Dalton. Fight, tell us why yours is the best and the other, or yours is the worst and the other one is better.
Okay, I treat Planet Hulk as worse because the story that it's based off of is a masterpiece, and I don't even know what story like the Invincible Iron Man was based off of.
It wasn't.
Okay, so it's technically not bastardizing and ruining a masterpiece storyline.
It's ruining the characters, but I will.
But every character has a bad story.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Iron Man has
on the technical level though, Planet Hulk leaves mine in the water, like by a country mile, because as much as it suffers from being compressed, it's still dramatically and like characteristically satisfying, at least in the confines of the movie itself. Yes, you can make the argument that it fell far from.
At least with the Invincible Iron Man, it's trying to be at least original story, so it's not like taking a story that people love and bastardizing it. That's the thing. It's like I at least give them a point for trying something original.
Talk to any Iron Man fan, and I bet you'll get a vastly different story from them not bastardizing it, because I can't imagine, as a Doctor Strange fan and having watched a lot of bad Doctor Strange movies, that Iron Man fans would be very defensive when it comes to that movie.
Well, the Invincible Iron Man story isn't an origin.
You can at least still enjoy Planet Hulk as its own thing and as a movie, and it didn't fall nearly as far from concept to conclusion. It just had a lot farther to fall because the original was so good.
Yeah, but given if you're not going to try and at least like go the route of making it a really good adaptation since it's a really good story, I just feel like they shouldn't have done it in the first place. That's just my personal opinion. Is when you're taking something that's original, so when you have something that's original, at least you're trying to do an original storyline, then you're basically just trying to do something new or something different.
So what about Planet Hulk specifically did you not like, other than, because I'm hearing that you didn't like it because it bastardized the story, but like how did it bastardize the story?
I just feel like Planet Hulk itself, given that how the story was put together, just like the comic book, by trying to squeeze it into a 90-minute film, it just leaves out all the extra flavor and all the other good stuff,
But this is the thing. Your problems with that movie could be solved by making it a mini-series. The problems with my movie are technical from the get-go to the conclusion, and you can't even enjoy the action scenes.
Well, then, again, your
imagine
movie could be
in
that movie
Planet
could be
Hulk,
solved
you
with
at least enjoy the action scenes and the animation because the animation is good and the voice acting is good and so on and so forth. Because
Well,
it's
you could,
still a
but
pretty
with your
solid
movie, you could
darn
just
movie on its
make
own.
it work by just rewriting it or remaking it, basically. You know, just get better writers, like a different director, and it could be it could work. You know, it's like it's Iron Man set in like China or Tibet and stuff. I mean, that could be an interesting idea. I mean, they're already doing, in a sense, a Batman film set in Japan. I think it could work.
Don't really think that's relevant enough to rebut because
I mean,
All right. Well, that's time anyway. Okay. Frugal, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. Both arguments struggle a little bit to really, go into detail beside, in depth of why the movie was bad. King Billy's kept focusing on it was a really good story to begin with, and it just was done wrong. It was probably too short. He did mention, though, that they changed the characters too much. That was a good hit. It was just a good story made to a bad movie. Where Dalton hit on the animation was bad, the effects was bad, Tony's journey wasn't portrayed good, and it had poor action throughout. Really, Dalton just gave more reasons why the Iron Man movie wasn't good. So I have to give this one to Dalton.
I'm torn, honestly. Dalton did give more reasons, but then when Billy said that it could be remade, I wanted to hear Dalton's response to that. But there wasn't one. So Dalton.
I guess that comes to me then, because we've got 1 point for Billy, 1 point for Dalton. So okay. So first thing that happened was we heard that Planet Hulk bastardized a good story. And then we heard from that Iron Man is actually its own story, so it didn't have to fall from grace. Billy also said that if you are not able to write a good or to make a good story out of a good movie out of a good story, it shouldn't even be done. So he's saying that his should never have even existed. And that's when we got to go over to Dalton, who really did, like Frugal said, talk about everything that was actually wrong with the cartoon itself, the special effects, the writing, the pacing is slow, yada yada. And then I think the killing blow was actually delivered by Sergeant Billy when he said yes to the fact that all that Planet Hulk needed was to be made into a miniseries to be good. So I've got to go with Dalton on that particular point. And yeah, the knockout blow. One thing is never agree with your opponent, but yeah.
I wouldn't say there was a strong knockout blow in this one. It was more of a sissy slap fight on this one.
Oh,
Frugal.
This is Frugal, the one that everybody says is nice, ladies and gentlemen.
Like this kind of shit.
No, I'm just saying no one really went for the jugular on this one. It was just little slaps, you know.
What was the jugular for you?
Weird places here.
And then Dalton just like comes early, and it's like Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, fight to the end. Fight to the end, and never agree. Yeah, if somebody said that Star Wars was a bad movie, you would have to, and yours was to argue against it. You would have to come up with the reasons why.
Okay, why though, Dalton? Like seriously, why? At least give me a reason as to why though. It shouldn't be addressed.
Because we all know that Iron Man can be made into a good movie because the Jon Favreau Iron Man came out not like I want to say
that was worse than Thor Dark World. It was horrible. The original Iron Man was just I would rather watch Steel.
I agree. I don't know why everyone has such a hard
time. I'm joking. Movie, holy crap! You took that. Holy, really?
No,
wow.
I agree. I do not like Iron Man, and it's sad that the first Iron Man movie is.
You just lost the audience.
I guess my main basis of mine argument was basically since it was like the animated film was an original story. It's like it's at least trying to do something new. It's compared to adapting a book. Like when you try to adapt a book like say Harry Potter and the movie sucks, you piss off a lot of fans. Because you're basically taking a great story.
Maverick says, I get where Billy comes from because his reasons are the same. I can't enjoy many comic book movies, but Dalton was talking from more of an objective filmmaking view. Frugal bringing out the dishes. Let's see, Kevin Durant. My picks are Son of Batman. That is my pick for worst. I agree with you. Batman Unlimited, Ultimate Avengers.
I couldn't pick that just because I like Damian so much.
You like Damien? I had so many hard times, like Deathstroke knocking bullets out of the air with his swords. That was just so. But the thing is,
who knocked out bullets with the sword?
Deathstroke.
I thought that was Damian that did that.
Not well. He probably did. Everybody in the beginning
Quinn or Killing Joke because of the rapiness of both of those, but I wanted to stay away from things that are just morally offensive.
Right.
Because I hate when people make moral arguments when logical arguments will do.
Alexis, you have to have a winner. We have to continue, but Alexis is saying neither one is a head tie for 0.
Yeah,
he's a harsher judge than we are, I guess. Okay, so we're going in. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this episode of Comic Book Fight Night. Let us know what you think about the opinions and who you think won in the comments below. And don't forget to go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi. Drop $1 in the till and help the channel out and helps keep making videos for you. You could even commission a video at Ko-Fi if you like. Just pick the subject, the topic, and we'll get that video out to you. And if you want to watch more Fight Night, just hang around for the credits and click on what we have available for you there. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.